kind of an impromptu morning video. Let's see if I can get this. Alrighty. I think we're gonna play with some dies today, and I think I'm a little up close, but I think that that's okay. I just need to, who's here? Let's see here. Let's see. Gotta check out my, get everything set up so that I can see the chat. All right, I think we're okay. I want to find our chat on my iPad so that I can make sure that everything's here. Let's see. Oops. All right. I think. All right. Now I can see. Good morning. Good morning. How's your week been so far? All right. I just want to make sure that I know where my framing ends, because I tend to go off frame sometimes. All right. We've got lots to do today. For those of you that were here on Sunday with our unboxing of our October kits, I decided to hang on to our dies until today so that we could look at them more in depth, and also too because I hadn't cut everything yet, so I wanted to show you what they looked like when they were cut. So that was important. Let's see if that helps. All right. So if you're here, who's here and where are you from? All right. Let's see. I have this. Okay, this is my favorite thing. I use it for everything. For those of you who watch my channel often, it's the Post-it removable labeling tape. And you can use it for everything, including masking and all kinds of stuff. I also use it on my glass mat so that I know, oh my gosh. Okay, so I have an automated cat toy, if you hear that in the background. That's what it is. If you hear a noise in the background, that's what it is. But I use it on my glass mat so that I know where the edge of my frame is. Right. One more. Okay. And then that way I can make sure that I stay in frame. I think I'm good. Okay, let me move this out of the way. All right. So, for those of you that weren't here on Sunday, I did an unboxing of all of our October kits. So, if you didn't see that, you'll want to make sure you check that out. But in addition, what we're going to focus on today is an up close and personal look at our dies. So we've got 6 dies. Let me move this out of the way. We've got 6 dies that I'm going to show you. And I'll show you what they look like when they're cut out. And then once we do that, this is going to kind of be a short video so that you can see what each one of them look like. I want you to leave a comment below on which ones you'd like to see me use this Sunday on a project, and maybe we can do, and let me know whether you'd like to see cards or a layout, or maybe a simple layout and some cards. So we can kind of focus on that. So we'll take a look at each one up close. And you know, honestly, I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit so that you can see everything right up close. All right, let's see. Am I too close? No, I think this is perfect. Okay, so I've got about right here and about right here. All right. So we have 6 different dies this month, and one of the dies comes in a pack with a stencil, and we'll do this one last so you can see exactly how it works. But it has a die, and then it has a stencil that has a shape for each one of the pumpkin shapes, and then a die or a stencil for each one of the stems. And if you look at it closely, you probably can't see it when you look directly onto the stencil because of the, oh, maybe you can. So there's a number for each one of the pumpkins and a number on each one of the stems, so you know which goes with which. You can also use this alone if you wanted to stencil on your layout, and maybe we can show some different ways that this can be used using my handy dandy 3 post-it tape, and we'll do some masking at the very end. So if you'll stick with me till the end, we'll show multiple ways and how the die and the stencil set can be used. So stick with me till the end and we'll play with those, and then leave a comment on which specific dies you'd like me to use for a project coming this coming weekend. So we have 6 different die sets. The first one is called Fall Leaves, and we've got a window trio that's stitchable. The stitchable dies are super fun. And then we've got a binder attacher, which works to attach pages directly to your traveler's notebooks or your 6x8 albums without a page protector. So, and these are scored in the center so you can fold them in half. And so therefore the holes are reinforced. So that's super cool. And great for if you do December daily albums or mini albums or Project Life, if you like to have some pages that don't have page protectors. It's nice to be able to touch and feel all the texture, and you can do a lot of interactive type things on your pages if you use a binder attacher so that you can have your page. You can also use these as a hinge if you want to have a pocket or a flap or something like that. So maybe not a pocket, but a flap or an envelope or something that folds in and out and opens up. So we can talk about that as well. We've got a set of stitchable leaves, and these are solid stitchable leaves. And there are holes that will allow you to stitch the veining in each one of the leaves. And then we have a village set, which has 5 different houses. And they come, when you get them, they come like all with little attachers. And you just use some needle nose pliers and you can break and bend them apart and then remove all the little pieces. So those are super fun. So let's get started. I'm going to put a piece of cardstock down so that we can see the background or each one of the dies better. So, and we get rid of all that horrible glare. So that should help a little bit. Maybe. Okay. So, let's see. I think I might have one more light that might help. Okay. So I've gone through and I've cut these all out. So this die set, and I'll show you how I store them as well when I receive them. If I have, I might be out of. I might be out of my envelopes. I think I am. I need to order some more envelopes. But basically what I do when I receive my dies is I store them in an envelope like this, and it has a magnet sheet. And then on the reverse side, I usually put the back side of the packaging so I know which one's which. And I'm out of these. I order them on Amazon. I will link to I'll put a link to Amazon where I order these because they're inexpensive and it's a great way to store your dies. And then that way, when you are looking for something, all of the dies are laid out instead of in a mosh pit like this. And so note to self, need more pockets. But in the meantime, let's pull these out. So there's 5 different dies, and they cut out these intricate little die cuts. And I got a bunch of them yesterday. And I got a new die cutting machine. I got the Spellbinders Platinum 6, and I like it a lot. I've got a Gemini 2, or a Gemini as well, the full-size one, and it works great until your plates get really warped. It also requires a shim a lot of times with more intricate dies, which is not uncommon with intricate dies, but every time you use the intricate die, your plates get more warped, and then so on and so forth. So I found that it's just more work than it's worth. From what I understand in the reviews that I've seen, the Anna Griffin electric die cutting machine is really, really good. It cuts well and it's fast. That's the other thing with the Gemini. It is slow. So it's like you feed your paper through and then you have to wait. And sometimes I just want to feed it through really quickly and be done with it. So I like it a lot for those reasons. And it cuts everything perfectly. So I'll lay these out next to one another so you can see each one of the dies and how they cut. Let's see, that one is not right. This one, so they all have like, oh, this one has a few little pieces that needed to be weeded out. You know, I tried, I think a few weeks ago I talked about press and seal. And I tried it, and what I did was once I pulled my die cut out of the die and it had a bunch of pieces that needed to be weeded out, I took a sheet of press and seal, laid the die cut on it and pressed it down really hard, and then I peeled my die back, and it really did remove a bunch of the tiny pieces. It wasn't perfect, but it did the trick, and which was really nice. So there's that one, and then this one. So I'm gonna zoom in just a bit. I want to be able for you to see them up close because they're a bit on the small side. And there's a delay with the, all right, let's see. Okay. Let's pull these down just a bit. So weird. Okay. On my phone screen, it looks like it's zoomed in a lot more than it is. Okay, so let me lift this up so you can see them up close. But the dies are so pretty, and they work in white. You can cut them out with our cardstock. So our October cardstock, let me see if I can find the cover sheet for it, because there's lots of different colors, and then you have lots of different fall colors of, good grief, I swear I had it. Oh, here we go. Okay. So if you cut it, used our cardstock and cut your dies out using the solids, you would have a bunch of really pretty fall colored leaves. So that's super cool. And then one other thing that I'll show you too is we'll just do it with one of the leaves. But in order to get some extra dimension, we'll do it with this one because it's pretty. I'm just going to use a little dot of blue. And if you just simply lay these over one another, and you have to line them up right, but the nice thing about liquid glue is that you have some time to get everything lined up. And we'll do one more. So you'll get a little more definition and dimension. Let's see, where's the one? Here we go. By layering them together, and then when you put them down on your project, by doing this, you will get a little more shadow. See that? Just want to make sure that they're lined up correctly. So as opposed to just your regular flat die cut, and you can do a mix of these, but I think you can see the shadow. Here, I'm going to move these out of the way. And show you up close how that looks. So if you're looking at an individual die as opposed to the regular, you'll see you just have more dimension. Here, let's hold them both. But it almost gives you that chipboard look as opposed to just a flat die cut. And it, of course, it's not gonna show you. Maybe this is gonna help a little bit, kind of. Anyway, these will give you a lot more definition, and you can do some. So like, for instance, with these, if you wanted to, you could make a wreath by just layering these around, and then you can put some of them, and you can, so if you cut a bunch of them out, you can layer them together to make a wreath, and you can use some of the other leaves as well. But I think that you can see that this is our leaf that I layered, and it just adds a little bit more of a shadow, and it just adds a little more texture. And so you could do some of them layered and some of them flat, but all of these add such intricate detail. And the other thing that you can do with them is, let's just use this as an example. And I'm going to take a pencil. Let's do something a little brighter. So I am going to just take a pencil And I'm gonna outline this, and then I'm going to cut inside. I'm gonna cut inside the line here. Because I don't want this to be peeking out. See, I'm cutting slightly inside that pencil line. And probably cut that tip off. And then I'm gonna cut this off too at the bottom, that tip. And then add a little more glue. And then we will layer these together. It was a little sloppy with my glue, but it will dry clear. And then, and you could do this with colored, so if you mixed your cardstock and you did colored cardstock, look how cute that is. Or you could make these mixed media, or you could take a mixed media background and color the backs of your leaves. So that's another option. Okay, so that is, these are the, where's my bin? I'm just gonna throw all these inside and we'll worry about putting them away afterwards. I'm gonna keep one of each out. Let's see this one. So you can see all the different dies. Okay. My daughter is working from home today, and she came out of the house to take her cat to the vet. So you hear background noise. It's the family, of course. Okay, so I'll put these to the side. Next, let's take a look at the stitchable dies. Oops. Okay, so we have 3 different stitchable leaves, and this is what they look like. Are you leaving?
I'm gonna go get a copy of my tea.
Okay.
And then I'll come back to you tomorrow.
All right. I don't know. So this is what they look like. And these are called the stitchable leaves. And this is what they look like when they're cut out. This one has a little piece that didn't cut thoroughly. So we have all kinds of leaves. And so I'm gonna use my pencil and show you the stitching. So it would go here, here, and here, and here, and here. And I'll stitch some of these and show you what they look like. And then this one goes this way up the center, and then there's one here, one here, one here. So there is method behind the madness on where the holes are. Doesn't seem totally obvious, but once they're stitched, it will. So this is, here, let me lift these up. And again, these can be layered with the other leaves. So, but this, so you can see the pencil marks. And again, these you can layer also to add a little more dimension. You can use them as they are. You can use mixed media to color them either before or after you cut them. So like if you have like a mixed media background that you haven't used, let me grab one, for instance. So let's say you had a mixed media background. This is just one I have laying around. I always keep these because you'll always, you know, if you don't use them, there are always things that they can be used for. But you could lay your leaves or your dies out on this and cut out using your mixed media background, and then you get a really interesting color of dye with a lot of variation in color, and so that's a great idea. The other thing you could do size-wise, this obviously doesn't show the details. So we had a star stamp that we came out with in September, and if you wanted to, you could stamp a bunch of stars, and your die, not all of the dies I don't think will fit this one, but they might. Let's see. Actually, not quite, but the smaller two of the dies will work on the star, and you can get that text background, which would make for an interesting leaf. So there's a lot of things you can do. And maybe I'll cut one of these out towards the end if we have time. So let's kind of keep one of each of these out. And I'm going to put these aside. So these are super cool. Out of the way. And these out of the way. Okay, so I'll lay these out so you can actually see them. But dies are a great way to really enhance your supplies. You know, the things that you have already. You can really kind of take things up to kick things up to the next notch or level. So there are those. Next, we have these village dies, and we have a stamp set that's going to coordinate with this die that's coming out in November. So with our November kits, and each one of the stamps will overlay the houses and add like Christmas lights and little holiday details. So here are the house dies. And this is what they look like when they're cut out. This one. And this one. And then we've got a small one. So they're super cute. The other thing that you can do with these is I'm going to take a little bit of fun foam and add it to the back side of our little houses. Okay, so there's that. Don't want it to show from behind. I think I'm good. To make sure. This one's a little bit wide. Ah! Trim this off a little bit. Okay. Oops. I'll add some glue. This is where tweezers come in handy. Because I tend to be all thumbs. And just add a little piece here. Right here. Right here. Oh, we've got my cat visiting. Say hi, Boba. He's in rare form today. He's usually quite shy. Okay, out. Jump down. Thank you. He is the cutest and sweetest thing. All right, so let's just add another little bit. Here. And then we'll take another one of these houses here. Add some glue on each one of our foam dots. And I'm rushing this process, so I'm not sure that the foam is entirely glued down. I've got some, I usually have some foam that has stickers. It's got a sticker backing on one side. Okay, this has a little mark on it, but so you add the dimension behind and you get a little house. I'll show you up close. But these are nice. Dies are great because then you can have multiple shapes. You know, like if you wanted to build a border or create like a little winter village or something where your houses are like for instance, like this where you have like some dimension with, and like for instance, if this one, if you wanted to have, where's the background, and make it look like no one's home, for instance. Okay, so we'll do it kind of like this. Trying to cut out without. So now I've kind of messed with this a little bit, but add another little layer behind here. And add your cardstock background backing. Move this out of the way. So you can have like some with like yellow lights that look like they're home, some with dark lights that look like they're not, and just create that kind of get some depth with the different houses. This kind of will give you, whoops. Let's see. So it kind of shows you how you can like layer these together. And then, you know, you can do them with colored cardstock, you can do them with pattern paper. I would probably use pattern paper that has like a subtle backing. The other thing you could use are the 6x8 cards from our Pocket Life pack. And all of these dies would fit on the different cards, so they work really great as layering pieces, and the scale is small. You know, some of them, but like the little plaid would be cute. Also this plaid, even the ledger, you know, so there's 6x8. Probably not that one, but here's another one. And these are all double-sided, so, you know, you've got choices. So picking up, you know, the dies, and this comes separate, so you can get this individually, or you can get it bundled with the Pocket Life stamp set. And so if you're a card maker and you do, you know, one or more of the die sets, and then you do the 6x8 paper pack and the stamp set, you can make lots of fall themed cards for your family and loved ones. And there's nothing better than getting a card in the mail instead of junk mail. So imagine sorting through all of the piles of junk mail, and then all of a sudden there's a little something addressed to you, and you open it up and it's something pretty from somebody that you love, that's taken the time to make something handmade. So these are great for that. So, again, lots and lots and lots to choose from. So these 6x8 paper packs are great to use with your dies, as is the cardstock add-on kit, and many of the pattern papers in our kit would work well. So like this one, this one, this one, you know, you could kind of figure out where you, this one, this one, this one. These are the B-sides. This one, even this one, you could do leaves with this one, some of the larger leaves. This guy, this guy, him. So any of these papers that have that subtle background, you could easily use with your dies. So those, I'm getting sidetracked and I always do this, so I apologize for that. So let's just set these aside. We'll set one of each of the little house dies, one of each of the metal dies, or the leaf, one of each of the leaf dies, and get rid of all of the other stuff. It's messing up my workspace. Okay, then we've also got, these are our stitchable window trios, and they cut, for those of you that enjoyed the film strip die that we had earlier on this year, this is kind of, will work the same, or kind of the, give you kind of a similar effect. But this is what they look like. Let's set these aside. So you get a sheet with, or a die cut with your stitching holes all piloted for you in a circle, and then this one still has a piece, and in a square. And then you also have your negative pieces that you can use if you wanted to. You could pop up this way, or you could have them sitting back and pop your frame up this way by adding foam adhesive. Same with the circle. If you do December documented or mini albums, I'll show you some other ideas for this. You can also, if you added foam adhesive, you could also turn these into little shaker pockets. So that would be really cool as well. So if you wanted to, you could use these on your scrapbook page. And you could do a mix of circles and squares, but if you wanted to kind of use these as a foundation of your layout, and you can stitch them and then layer other bits and pieces underneath. White on white layouts are really pretty even, so you could do or layer your so all of these things can be layered together to create really pretty pages. So just kind of some ideas. Alrighty, so there's those, which I love. So we'll set these here, and I'll move these aside. It's very simple. Again, stitching, super easy. Takes a little bit of time, but it really does add a lot to your pages and projects. And if you have like a nice selection of embroidery floss, then you know you can use embroidery floss that coordinates with the products in your kits. And in fact, we're looking into coordinating embroidery floss that will work with our color palette. So stay tuned for that. That's kind of in the discovery phase at this point in time. Okay, so the other thing that you can do with these, or in conjunction with these are the binder attacher dies. So this one will work with any 6-ring album. So there's like traveler's notebooks out there. There are 6x8 binders that have a 6-hole configuration, and these holes are all spaced to fit those types of albums. If you have a 3-hole album, you can use this single hole attacher, and you can position it where your holes are. So, and what it does is when you cut it, it looks like this, and it's scored in the center, and you fold it in half. And so let's say you have, let's call this your layout, right? You can do one of two things. You can have it in the same pattern, and you can put it behind and then layer two different papers together, or you can do it like this, where it, get down, thank you, get down. Or you can do it like this. So one or the other. But again, you've got the nice reinforced holes, which is really nice. And so for instance, if you have a piece of cardstock and you're using this color, for instance, for your page, and you can cut your binding piece out of that same color or pattern. The other thing you can do is, if you wanted to, you could take one of these and, let's see, where's this? So glue this together like this with your binder piece in the center, and then you can have, like in your December daily album, you can have little interesting additions or little pages or little accent pieces that are attached to the binder. And like if you've got a 6-ring binder, you could do the single holes, or depending on, or if you have the 3-ring binder, I'm sorry. But if you have a 6-ring binder, you can even use these single holes and just place the binder attachment where the lower of this first section of rings is, and then on the top one on the lower section of rings. And so your little piece will fit securely, and then you can turn it, and just, you can have little photos inside all kinds of things. So these two things would be really fun with your December documented or any type of mini album you do. So the other thing you could do is if you wanted to have it be 2 pieces, you could use it as a hinge. And simply, and it doesn't even matter if you have holes. If you're going to use it just simply as a hinge, you could cut it down and add it so that it doesn't show into your windows. And then you've got the bottom piece, and then it'll open this way. So you can use it as a hinge. So a lot of different ways that this can be used, and it's a great addition for all of your holiday crafting projects. And then finally, move all these aside, because this one is a little more detailed. Move that out of the way. I am going to move all these scraps out of the way as well. And then, okay, I have these little sticky mats, and they're great for ink blending and stencil work. So what I'm gonna do here is I am going to, actually I'm gonna do it this way. Use my little Post-it tape to secure this down to my work surface. And then with these dies, I'm going to, these dies are pierced. So if you look closely at each die, let me see if you can see this. There is, it's pierced. There's little tiny holes. I think once we do the ink blending on these, you'll notice the difference. Okay, so we'll start with this first one. And if you have a sticky mat, if you have a Cricut mat or a silhouette mat, that will work the same because it has like a just a soft okay. So what we'll do here, these are, and you're gonna get a cute little white border around the edge. So it'll stand out on your background. All right. So these are the Lindy's Starburst sprays. And this one is a gold color. And then this one is kind of a magenta pink. This one's called California Poppy Gold. These come with only powder in them. And so you add water, warm water, to this fill line right here. And then you shake it up and you let them sit for like 10 minutes before using them. And then that allows all of the pigment to dissolve, and then you shake them up. And these are shimmery, so these have mica inside them, so when they dry, they have a really pretty shimmer to them. So I'm trying to create like an orange color here, and so I'm gonna add a little bit of that magenta color. And I'm going to take my blending brush and take a piece of scrap paper. I know I've got some somewhere. What did I do with it? There we go. So I want to make sure that I've got a nice little orange color going. So there we go. Okay, perfect. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go from the edge to the center. And the other thing that I wanna do, there's also the stems here. Just gonna cover them up, only because they'll get on my sticky mat, and then I can we'll add a little more color towards the bottom. Okay. And then you peel, actually use my towel to kind of wipe this off. You peel all right. You peel your stencil back. And you've got your pumpkin. Then you can take and you've got your little stem here. And guess what makes brown? When you mix green and yellow and pink. Let me get a different brush because I don't want this one to be. Or you could use like a brown ink. I'm just using what I have on hand. And then you add your little stem in the center. fill your that one was a little bit wet, so it kind of bled underneath a little bit where the stem is. Obviously, this isn't super heavy duty cardstock, but there you've got your little pumpkin. And once this dries, you'll be able to see the detail better. Let's do another one so that we can make sure that the we get the stem on there right. Okay, so okay, so let's do a little more orange. So we'll do, get some of that pretty shimmer in there. We'll mix these together. And if you're, the key with this is to make sure that your brush isn't too wet. Less is more, and you want to use a light hand when you go in to blend them. And if you go back clockwise and counterclockwise, you get a nice distribution of color. If you're too heavy-handed, you're going to kind of beat your paper up, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so we've got a beautiful orange color, and then we're going to move this. And we'll dry this using my heat gun afterwards. And then you just layer your stencil where you've got your stem. And I'm drying off my brush some because I just want the color. I don't want the moisture. And if you do that, then it doesn't bleed. Okay. See, that's much better. And where is my little pokey tool? Obviously, tweezers would work for this as well. But I'm going to take this and use my, oops. There you go. I'll try this one too. This is where tweezers come in handy so you don't burn your hand. And when you, if you can actually see the shimmer on this or not on camera, but it's got a really pretty, you can see some of that mica maybe here. has to be caught by the light just right. And the way that my, oh, there you go. Oh, you saw a little bit. Maybe. Oh, see there. You can see it a little. The other thing, if you don't want this outline, well, here, let me show you something else real quick. If you don't want the outline, you can just use your ink blending tool all the way to the edge. But the one thing cool about this is that this has these piercing holes. Move this so that I can see. So you can use this as a guide, and I'm skipping every other hole. But you can use these holes to pilot your stitching and make them pretty. So if you wanted to, those two might have been a little wet when I so you can use these to pilot your holes. That you can, when you on camera it's hard to see, but there's little pilot or little pierced marks on the die itself, and so you can use these as guides to stitch the little details on your pumpkin. If you wanted to and you didn't want your pumpkin to have a white border, you can cut it out like this. And then where did my stencil go? My blending brush go? I'm gonna add, oops. Like I said, I tapped this off on my mat. What I want to do here, I'm going to use my stencil just for the top here, so that where the stem meets the pumpkin, there you go. And then you can use this here for your stem. Where's the darker one? And do it right up to the edge there. And then just kind of mask this off just a little bit so you can edge. Covered. And there you go. Sure what I did. I must have gotten something on this. Okay. And then, oops. Lift this up. Oh, see, when this mat is a little more sticky, and probably better to let it dry just a bit before you try to lift it, because I tore it. Let's move this mat out of the way. I'm gonna dry these. And by doing this with the mist, you get different. I kind of like the ones with the white border myself, because I think that it makes each one stand out a little better. But imagine that with little stitched lines on it. It'd be super cute, or it's cute just the way that it is. And you can use like ink pads, you can use your mist, you can use watercolors. The key is that you don't want your blending brush to have too much liquid. If it does, you're gonna kind of ruin your paper for one thing, and then your color is gonna bleed underneath the stencil, and you don't want that either. So anyway, so that is how the stencil and the stencil and this die works. The other thing you could do is you could leave this white, and then you can do some stitching on the inside. So stitch orange around the edge, and then either brown or green to do your stem. So I think those are all of our October dies, which hopefully you like. I'm super excited about them, and I can't wait to use them on an upcoming project. So if you leave a comment or a message in the chat letting me know which die you would prefer me to use on Sunday, I'll do that. If there aren't any comments, I will choose one myself. So get some of this overspray cleaned up so that I don't get it everywhere. But so let's take a look at all the things that we have, all the different die cuts. So there's this one, and there's this one, and then you have all of your squares and circles that go with it, and the houses. Cute little houses. This one, here's the one that I added the little cardstock backing with, the single window, and then there's a tall one. Where did the tall house go? Here we go. The little houses. That was the heat tool. And then we've got leaves, And this leaf, and there's another. Kind of threw all these in a big pile. It's in here somewhere. Then we've got the little stitchable leaves here. And so what am I missing? Oh, the binder attacher. So there's that one as well. Oh, I'm going off frame. Imagine that. I usually do it this direction. So here's all the things. I'm gonna move these off to the side because they're big. And here's the final little. Okay, so this one has a set of 5 leaves. This one has a set of 3. This one has 2 pieces. And then this guy has a set of 5 little houses. And these 5 little houses are going to have stamps that coordinate with them that come out with our holiday kit in just a few days. Our October kit or our November kits will be revealed on the 3rd. So stay tuned for that. Also, go over to our Instagram and you'll be able to see a sneak peek of our November kits. So we shared a little sneak peek of those the other day, and you want to make sure to check that out. Our holiday kits are always some of our most popular. So there we go, our all of our October dies. So leave a message or a comment letting me know which die you prefer and whether you'd like me to make layout or cards. I think cards might be kind of a nice change because I haven't done that ever during a live, I don't think. But the nice thing about making cards is that I can use things in a variety of different ways, and each one of the ideas can be used on a layout as well. So that's definitely something to think about. So I want to thank you all for joining me today. I know it was a little impromptu, but I hope that you're inspired to pick up one or more of these die sets. They'll really enhance your fall crafting projects a ton. So head on over to our website at www.hipkits, plural, HIPKITS.net. And if you enter KHUTCH at checkout, you'll save 10% on your purchase. The other thing is that I should mention is if you are a Hip Kit Club subscriber, you save 15% on all of your add-on kit purchases, and they'll also ship for free along with your main kit. So if you order them and have them shipped at the same time as your main kit, they'll ship for no additional shipping charge. You also get access to our cup files each month, and we've got some classes coming up that our subscribers will receive a benefit with those as well. But they'll be open to everybody. But so stay tuned for those details, and they'll be coming probably within the next week or so. So stay tuned for that. And until then, I hope you guys find time this week to find a little me time and create something pretty. Until Sunday, I will see you in a few days. Have a great week, you guys. Thanks for joining me. Bye.